Hey everybody, it's Krista again. It's been some time since I've been here to do a reading. I forgot to look at the date. I feel like it's been about a week, but I'm no good with dates and times. Honestly, I'm someone who kind of lives outside the sphere of time. It doesn't, and never has ever really felt like it meant anything. So I just wanted to do a recap because it has been so long. I got called to watch my last reading because very often when I do a reading, and I've said this on that last reading then as well, that whatever is meant for you, the watcher, it's also meant for me. Now, I have to say, I've been really battling being specific about who I'm reading to. And I could really hear that the last time I did the reading. I kind of did talk about twin flames, and look, I have been battling it because to me it's been a very personal journey. However, I feel I do resonate as strongly as a divine feminine, and I do believe that I'm on a twin flame journey, and I do know that my masculine does watch these, and he may watch this. And it's bothered me that he may see this as a form of manipulation, and it's not, but it's another reason or something that's holding me back from speaking my truth. So this just came up all of a sudden, just really randomly, just now as I'm talking about it. I am so sorry. I'm starting to fight this again, and I don't know why. These are channeled messages, and whatever comes through is what comes through. And there's times that even on my journey, I am still fighting. And I mean, just look at my last reading. I cut my thumb, which is now healing quite nicely. I don't want to show you too close, but you know, it's still very sensitive. It's actually still quite sore. But I think as a divine feminine who is on a twin flame journey, it's important to speak. I think what I was being called to just before I started this was I was just starting to think about how important it is to speak about the divine feminine side. Now, when I started watching tarot and started going on my own spiritual awakening, it was really all focused on the masculine, actually. It was all masculine this and masculine that. And I really felt like it was confusing. It was hard to listen to. It was painful. It was actually triggering me continually. I've been triggered for the last 3 years, and those triggers have forced me to heal those wounds, which in a backwards way has helped me heal. But it's important to hear, I think, for the masculines, I think they're going through this deep awakening at the moment, and it's an extraordinarily painful process. And I don't want to, I'm not ever going to dismiss that, because it really hurts. It's painful. There's no other word for it. It's just pain. It's like like spirit just smashes you so hard with truths, and we end up suffering by looking at our own woundings and our own pain and all the decisions that we make and all that kind of stuff. And for those masculines who are awakening at the moment, please, I want to reassure you that I know that there's a lot that's coming up for you, and you're this light, you know, the light, it sheds the light on darkness, and it's profoundly difficult to see. But when we do see, we do heal. And I will say this over and over again, once we see something, we don't unsee it. We can try and run from it and avoid it, but spirit chases us harder and faster than we can ever run. And the feminines learnt this very early, and a lot of feminines very often are older than their masculines. And they've experienced this kind of thing in the past, often even before they've met their partners, their twin. And they've had a lot of experiences where spiritually, they kind of understand that they can't run from spirit. And that's why they don't. It's just because they learnt it earlier. It's not because they just know it. It doesn't come from a lack of experience. And the thing is that the feminine's heart, what they desire is that you have it easier. They want you to experience a better way and a lesser way. But part of the journey for the divine feminine is to allow, is that release process, is to release their masculines to experience the pain. And when you feel masculines, when you feel your feminine, you no longer feel them, and you feel a disconnect, that is what is happening, is that they're enabling you to learn the lessons you need to learn. And that is actually, I'm sorry, I'm just realized my mic, I'm just going to fix this. Thank you. Sorry if it's a little bit shaky. That is a painful process for the feminine to do, because there's so much love and care and desire for you to experience beauty and good things, that they don't want you to go through the hardship. They don't want you to experience the pain and the suffering. But I think the thing is, this is a classic thing. It's kind of, that very experience is very parental. It's very motherly. It's that parental kind of figure. And the thing about parenting is releasing children to their own experiences. It's releasing children to learn on their own. And the divine feminines, under no circumstances, actually want to be a parent figure. They don't want that. But there is that codependent kind of relationship that the feminines actually have to heal. And they aren't aware that that's what is happening. All they feel is profound love and fear for their counterpart. And over the journey, they have to heal that codependent caretaker relationship. They have to heal that. And a lot of divine feminines, they do have this divine love, and it's like this love that just never stops, and it doesn't ever go away. which is great. But the thing that they do badly is care for themselves. They don't give themselves the love that they deserve, that they need. And a lot of divine feminines, you know, we can have the most, all this wisdom and this divine guidance and this deep relationship to spirit and all that kind of stuff. But what we find really difficult, and spirit calls us out on this, and this is what is happening now for the divine feminines, is that the divine feminines, and don't ever believe a lot of these stuff. Like, I hear a lot of readings, so just let me pause for a minute. A lot of tarot readings where it's like the divine feminine, she's like perfect, she's got everything together, she's got the money, she's got the look, she's got the wealth, everything's just flowing, she's just minding her own business. That is not entirely true. That is not true. I think that is the perception that the masculines see their divine feminine counterparts in. And that's not true. The divine feminine, they do hold things together. They do it really, really well. But what you don't see is the suffering and the extreme cost that it takes to do that. And it is extreme. And what a lot of feminines have a tendency to do is burn out. They burn out from overgiving. And that is what they have to heal from. They have to heal from that codependent type that is the caregiver, the parental kind of caregiver. And they have to pull back that energy. You have to, in fact, remove it completely from giving it from another person and totally focus on themselves. Is to totally focus on what they need, on how to self-care and how to live in the 3D physical world. Now, the masculines do that incredibly well. The masculines live in this planet, on this earth, and they do it well. They know how to do it. What the masculines don't do well is the spiritual side, is the seeing another existence outside of this existence. And the feminines do the opposite. They actually live in the spirit world really well, and they find living in this 3D world almost weird. It's like we've got all this stuff, but there's something greater. And what happens is that there has to be a balancing of those two things. The feminine has to step into the 3D physical earthly body and to learn how to enjoy it and be present in the moment, how to have these experiences and not to live in a state of denial because they're looking for something greater. It's about enjoying the present and the physical earthly body. And the masculines have to do the opposite. They have to pull back a little bit from that physical earthly body realm to step into the spiritual world. And the thing is, like, they both struggle with that because it's not natural for either of them. They're quite extreme in their approach to life and in their approach to everything. And the whole point of the journey, of the twin flame journey, is to balance each other, is to come into that. The feminine has to step into more masculine energy. The masculine has to step into more feminine energy. He has to get in touch with his emotions. The feminine has to get in touch with being more boss-like on this earth, being more in control, not letting people push them over, not letting them, just take and take and take. They have to take some for themselves. They have to sit there and say, no, I can have some as well. And the masculine has to release some of the things that he's had, in order to give. And there's this constant kind of a battle. And that is a really it's difficult for both parties to do. But like what I was saying earlier, this is more, I guess, a message to the masculines to let you know that don't think under any circumstance that your counterpart has had it easier, because it's just that you haven't seen it and they haven't shown it to you. They haven't revealed themselves. One of the things that keeps coming up, I know for me personally, is about being seen. And I've struggled with that. I'm not feeling quite ready. And the reason is because I'm only just starting to step into that. I'm actually beginning to hyper focus on living in the 3D world. Looking after myself, looking after my body, eating well, sleeping well, learning who I am, kind of stepping out of my hermit energy. So the masculines are kind of stepping into hermit and the divine feminines are stepping out of hermit energy. And the feminines are starting to kind of look around now and go, all right, we've done a lot of healing. We've done a lot of the inner work, the inner childhood wounding, the traumas, the trauma bonds that we've had, and we're releasing that stuff. We've released it. We've purged, but the task now is to learn how to no longer be in suffering, but to live in joy and to experience happiness and abundance and health and wealth, and to really live that. And so it's an exciting time, but it's funny because it's been difficult for me to discuss this with other people, only very particular people, but what's strange for me is that I've got all these blessings that have been coming my way, and the thing that has happened is that it's actually triggered me to feel uncomfortable and to have to work through that. And that was not what I expected. I expected to feel over the moon and feel really good, and I'm getting all these things, and isn't that great that it's happening for me? My life is turning around. I'm feeling like all my dreams are starting to actually become realities. But as that's happened, because it's been such a long journey, and I'm not just talking just recent, I'm talking about my life, but my whole life journey has been one of giving to others and not actually receiving. And all of a sudden, here I am receiving and feeling confused and uncomfortable. And it's not that I'm ungrateful, it's just new. And it's exactly the same for the masculines. As your spirituality, as you become more in tune, it's like, oh my God, and it rocks your world. Spirituality, when you start to wake up to spiritual things and you start listening and seeing and hearing and feeling, it rocks your world, it changes your life. And it's no less hard for the feminines and whatever it is that they're experiencing. So it's just to reassure you that it's been just as hard. Okay, it's been just as hard, and it's not unbalanced, and it hasn't been easy. I think sometimes the veil is often that the feminines can sometimes make things look easy, and it's only because they start out having the spiritual side, and I think they're just more accustomed. It is in some ways kind of easier for them, but it's the same with the masculines. Masculines start off with this physical kind of easy ability to manifest abundance in the physical 3D world. That's kind of easier for them, but then we get called to balance up. And we do have to step into that discomfort and that change and to be open to it. So on that note, on that very long note, I've got to be careful because I don't have my phone plugged in, and I've got to make sure that I can get through this without it turning off and the lights on and everything. I forgot to charge my light. It's been a little while, so I have to do this after that. So we'll have a little shuffle and we'll see what's happening at the moment. I have, again, tried to not... I'm not someone who, again, I think I am speaking to the masculines. If you're here and you're watching this particular reading, I want you to understand how I read is that some readers will sit there and they'll say, right, they're very orderly, kind of Virgo, kind of, the way they read, they might have very specific ways of reading. Now, Spirit doesn't work like that with me at all. And most people who come into my energy have a tendency to actually do it the same way. It's really funny to watch. But what happens is that the cards will fall out. I don't have a choice about what is presented. They tell me what is going to fall out. Now, all the conversation that I've been having up until this point is still channeling. It's very much just allowing Spirit to use me as a voice, and the message comes out. Now, so when I pull tarot, I just shuffle. And I simply ask, tell me what I need to know. Tell us what we need to know, and we go from there. And we don't, whenever I've tried to do it any other way, Spirit just has a fit. It's like they'll shut it down. They'll go silent and nothing will happen. So it's really just a purely intuitive process for me, where the message comes as I speak, as I open my mouth, the messages come. So I never really know, and I don't know how long I'm meant to shuffle. Some readers will shuffle, and they'll shuffle 3 times, and then they do their thing, and then they have so many cards. This row means this row means that, this row means this. That doesn't happen. As you can see, these cards just fell out and we just have to go from there. All right. Actually feel... Okay, here we go. We've got our Hermit Energy, which I did mention before. It did come out sideways. And this came up here. I'm just going to pull this over. Again, I don't have a huge amount of room. I'm still trying to navigate everything here. This did kind of come out here. This kind of spun though. It was like a, this was almost like a, it's like it was becoming a reality. This is being seen somehow. We'll investigate that. So it's all come out on the side. So for me, we've got our Hermit Energy. We've got our 5 of Pentacles being out in the cold. And we've got our 2 of Swords. I always think this is someone who's very, they're very defensive. They're standing in their truth, but they're also closing their eyes because what they're seeing before them, it doesn't help them make a decision. Okay, this card, I really feel like a lot of Swords energies, especially any of the Swords cards that are using blindfolds, is really standing in truth and trusting intuitive guidance, and they will make a good decision. And it seems like someone is making a decision about a community. Here, I often read the 3 Cups as a community, even though could be 3 specific people. I am seeing that triangle energy, and it's funny because with my cousin, we talk a lot. We have these really great deep conversations, and triangles have been coming out a lot. And I am seeing some kind of triangular shape. When you see a 3, I'm beginning to think more and more of triangles. And even, sorry, I just pulled that and it was like almost like this is a triangle, they're looking at this triangle. There's something about trusting someone is looking into everything. This is a current energy, so it's someone who's looking at why they were left on the outside. It's seeing that they have to trust their intuition. They're really looking at this kind of thing, and really both of these are kind of undecided, but he's kind of got an awareness of this is the energy, something happened here, and this is like abandonment, really, isn't it? It's being left out in the cold. It's in reverse. It's not, how do you not be left out in the cold, maybe? Or it's a past energy has been left out in the cold, but it's like he's learning to trust his intuition, this hermit. So whoever's in the hermit energy out of you twin flames, you know, is really interesting. It's really the person who's looking into their past and their current and their future, and starting to really look at who is around them, who this community is. And wow, that is such an important place to be. I know for me, on my journey, I've had to purge people that I didn't want to. I didn't want to purge these people, but when it came down to it, I realized these people had no good intentions for me. And I felt like this was tipping. It was almost like it kind of flipped before, you know, when it was over here. So really, hermit energy is profoundly important. It's taking time out. It's reviewing your past. It's looking at everything with a really keen eye, and using the light. Using a torch, and this is a star that's in there. It's using a, from the heavens, you know, it's like using heavenly observation. Hey. Whoa, wow. Now there's a lot of cards here, and initially I feel like I want to put them back, but I'm also feeling called not to. So I feel like this might be a completely different story. So we've got our Chariot card that's fallen on here, and this is really showing that there is being great action. I am very excited about this. This to me is like, yes, you know, I actually want to encourage this even more by doing this. You know, this is a selenite pyramid. And again, the triangular kind of, what that represents, just like triangles. I want to help you have the clarity, and this selenite is all about clarity, about spiritual guidance, clearing what you can't see. It's cleansing type of energy. And if that's the energy that this person's in, then I want to help that person as much as I can. Clear what does not belong, get rid of it, clear it away. If it does not do you good, if there is no genuine wellness for you in any relationship, no matter what it is, doesn't matter if they're blood, okay, it doesn't matter if they're family. Spiritual awakening is all about identifying that just because you're born into something does not mean you have to stay within the rules of that specific type of thing. Families are not always good, and they are good when they're great, when they're good, but when they're bad, they can go really, really bad. And I am not going to be someone who sits here and tells you, oh no, but you should stay with your mother who's been abusing you for your whole life. You should stay with them because, oh, they're your mother. That is not a good enough reason. It is not a good enough reason for you to continually invest in someone who is abusing you. Remove yourself from abuse, always. Anyway, so I feel like I'm ranting. I actually don't feel like I need to rant. I don't need to say that because this person is doing it. They're taking action by trusting their intuition and seeing what is happening. This is just so beautiful. It's exciting. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I don't know. I'm gonna put this away for a minute. I will pull these cards because I do feel like I've got this pile over here. You probably can't see it. Oh, wow. They did want to come out earlier. So we have compassion. Oh, sorry, I'm not even, why am I holding up on the side? Compassion. And port wine magnolia with some moths. Compassion. Yeah, the divine feminines, I think this is actually a little bit of a message for you, is to, I do think this is more of the masculines going through this at the moment, because a lot of the divine feminines, we have kind of already been through this process. But, you know, I think the thing is that once you have gone through it, you can't not deliver compassion to someone who's going through it, because that is a profoundly painful experience. So feminines, we are being called to have compassion and commitment. Wolf's evening primrose. Now it's interesting that that's coming up on the community. I'm wondering if what's happening here is that, okay, I'm kind of getting two messages here. It's like this is where the battle is, I think. This is like the battleground, is that when we have our community, sometimes they will demand commitment from us. Just say, but this is your family. You know, this is your family. These are your friends and you should be loyal to them, you know, and all this BS, you know. The question is, are they as loyal to you? Are they giving what they're expecting of you? And the question is, do you have to be committed to these people? And where, in fact, does your commitment is kind of another way of saying loyalty. Where do your loyalties lie? Do we have to keep it with a community who does us harm? If they're doing good and they've got our backs and they want us to win, and they want us to win, okay, they celebrate your wins, then yes, great. Anyway, I don't need to do that because that's your job, isn't it? That's the all divine feminine that keeps coming in. And it's like, I don't need to tell you that. This is your job. And the question is, this is where you're at. And it's a really important thing to assess. It's so important. So anyway, I'm actually going to clear this away as the first message. Now, that is never something that I normally do. So we'll scoot that aside over there. And I feel actually like I'm going to shuffle these. Actually don't know. I know the Ace of Wands was there. Okay. Where do you want these, Spirit? I'm not feeling really directly guided. How many have we got? Thinking triangles. Occasionally I've been called to put them in a pyramid type of a fashion. Something like this. Whoops. I did want to turn that over then. Okay, maybe it's like a reverse type of a pyramid. Here, here. And then this is not how I generally work, but for whatever reason, I'm feeling called to do this. So we shall see. I've got to be careful because I've got this little crystal down here, and that is my line, and I know you won't be able to see off screen. That's down here. So anyway, let's just turn them over. So we have our Fool. Wow, holy moly. Okay, again, this is awakening, but it's past tense, it's awoken. Now, I told you I just watched the last reading and this energy came up. But this was not a nice energy, and it still doesn't feel like a nice energy. I'm beginning to feel that there's this line that's down here, down the middle here, and I'm beginning to feel like this might be past energy, but we shall see. Oy. Okay. This is really hard to do. I'm gonna move this. Oh, okay. Actually, maybe I could put this like this. Okay. Hold on, it's lining up better. Why didn't I? Why didn't I just do that? I got caught up in pyramids. Anyway, this is easier. Oh, I'm so silly. What in the heck? What? This is... Okay, I'm definitely going to need some clarification here. All right, I'm going to go get this. This is my Queen of the Moon Oracle, and this is really quite a twin flamey type of a deck. Just going to shuffle off screen so I don't... I'll try not to. It's nice for you to see, isn't it? We can see that it's whatever it is falls out. I know for a lot of readers, if they get complaints, a lot of people don't feel like they can trust readers when they're shuffling off screen, but readers, you get taught energy. I am not going to keep that. Okay. Well, Okay. Wow, that's a cool message. And this is something between. Now, I got told strict instructions about this particular deck. It's funny because I do have particular decks that don't ever read in reversals. Read it as an upright, never read it. It's like, and weirdly, this deck, I got such an intense message about never read it in reverse. And I don't know why. I don't know why. So we'll put them all into their upright and just have a little think about this. I do feel like I still need to shuffle. Maybe they would want those other cards that fell out before. Usually when I put them back, they fall right back out again. Maybe not. Okay, they want me to shuffle again, like I did before. Wait. Okay. I'm going to put this here, but because it didn't fall out specifically anywhere, Oh, wow. Okay. This is interesting. Look at this. You've got the Ace of Wands. This is a passionate new beginning that is handed to someone by the divine. We've got a smoking extremes. Someone's feeling hot and bothered. Hot and bothered. It's burning up. And having faith. And look, there's a divine feminine energy, the moon. This is very divine feminine. Have faith. And she's pregnant. and she's got the world in her belly. That is exactly like that Egyptian, is it Newt? That's from my last reading again, where the divine feminine is arched over. It's like that pregnant belly kind of a thing, and the masculine's underneath, and there's the world between, and the feminine carries that. Okay. So many things. I kind of, my mind, spirit, I'm going to need you to be helpful, be a bit more helpful. Help me. I don't know. Oh, okay. So again, I'm really being drawn to this masculine energy. This is really a masculine read, okay? This is for you guys. I'm saying you guys, but look, a masculine can be a female, and a feminine, divine feminine can be a male. It depends on which energy you're possessing, okay? So, but this is for the divine masculine kind of energies. If you possess that, male or female, it doesn't matter, okay? But this is a divine masculine who is desiring a passionate new beginning, and frankly, the divine is on side, okay? And it's about having faith. It's about see, they're looking at each other. They've kind of got, he can't see his face, but she's got her eyes closed, but there's that sense of the full moon, the fullness. She's pregnant, you know, there's this fullness of coming together, where, you know, I feel like he's looking at her and understanding the loss, but still desiring. There was like 9 of cups. There was like 9 of cups, but that's been lost. And he's looking at this, you know, he's looking at this. The awoken, the masculine who has woken up and understanding that all he was a reverse Knight of Cups, was a false offer, an offer, but no, there was no offer at all. It was a reverse Knight of Cups, which is a really selfish offer. It's all about what they can get and nothing really about what they can offer. And over here, so let's just look underneath these. We've got our King of Cups in reverse, and there is, interestingly, a Queen of Wands. Now, initially I was thinking this might be a karmic, but I'm actually thinking no, it's not now. And I'm saying no because she's in the upright. And what fell on top of her is protection. And interestingly, I've been seeing that the divine feminines are actually continually seem to be coming up as the Queen of Wands. And I think that's because that's how the masculines perceive their feminine. The Queen of Wands is like one of the sexiest women in the deck. And she's also a warrior. Okay, she's got that staff. It's very similar to that sword kind of energy, but the warrior and the staff, it's about being a warrior and someone who's battled. She's battle hard, so to speak, you know, but she's protected. And protected from the King of Cups, the false King of Cups. So the thing is that I think part of the awakening is the knowledge that the masculines cannot come in this energy. They absolutely cannot come in this energy to their feminines. Their feminines are protected by the divine. And they can attempt to come, but if they're not in the right energy, then they'll be separated. The separation, they will be separated and continually separated. And the masculine can try and fight this. They can fight their way and kind of be like, you know, determined and I'm just going to go and see my feminine. And it's like, you know, it's like the masculine, it's like I'm being called to the thing about Jonah and the whale. Again, this was the last reading, Jonah and the whale, of running away. And part of it, it's funny, it's not, because the whole thing about the twin flame journey is not just about reunion. It's about healing. And the journey is not about the two of you. You can be hyper focused on each other, but it's not the point. The point is to heal. And Jonah was called to go and do something to help create healing in Nineveh. He was there to call down judgment, say, if you don't repent, you're going to receive judgment. And really what's happening for the masculines is that there's a desire to run, but they want to run towards their feminines. But the thing is that the divine is saying no. And that happened in the last reading as well. And I didn't hyper fixate on it, but there was a card that came up and it said, to the feminines, say no. And the divine will say no to the masculine if they don't come correctly. There's no walking away. Look at this. There's no walking away from this, okay? You can resist that. Okay, the cups, this is all about this energy. It's about changing your energy. It's about looking at what you've invested and see, there's toxic investments. That's what I'm going to read this as reverse. You know, this is about abundance and what you receive and what you've worked hard on, okay? If you haven't worked hard on yourself and you haven't healed yourself from your inner woundings, then we can turn that in reverse and say, well, there's nothing really productive. And the thing that they're confirming is that the masculines are resisting. They're resisting their healing process. And I'm going to say this over and over again. When God calls, when Spirit calls you, and this is a judgment. Okay, hear this very carefully. And I feel like I just got this chill. If you don't start to heal yourself, things are going to get harder, things are going to develop, and things are going to get more extreme the more you do this, because this is what you've been called to do. There's a sense, though, that the feminine's in this kind of full energy where she's like, she's taken that leap of faith and she's looking over here and she understands that the masculine, once he discovers his strength, he's going through this hardship. And this is something that the feminine kind of is mostly done already. They're still healing. If you're healing masculine, the feminine is still healing. Okay? So don't, under any circumstances, think that she's done. She ain't done. All right? She's still working. She's still working, but she's very aware and she knows what she has to heal and she's hyper-focused on it. So she's not resisting that process. And what she understands that strength is healing, okay? It's about purity. It's about having pure, kind of beautiful intention. It's not about taking from someone. It's not just desiring something and wanting it and getting it and then discarding it. It's about having pure intention, because we understand that goodness has great outcomes for everybody, not just what you experience, you know. And so the masculines are called to assess this energy, and to understand that purity and pleasure go hand in hand. Okay, purity and pleasure go hand in hand. They are one and the same. And that this is what is being offered to you, is purity in pleasure. It's both. Don't think for a second that purity isn't hot, okay? Purity is just as spicy over here, okay? But it's sometimes it can be better. So yeah, there's that, again, a little bit of a warning there. And they're acknowledging that there's still resistance. But that's the process, isn't it? But for whatever reason, we're having to look it up. Look at this, passion. How many times has this come over? There is serious passion here. And the thing is, masculines, it's not just about lust. Lust is actually beautiful, but lust and emotional availability, which is the problem here, okay? Emotional availability. The King of Cups is the most emotional and sensitive masculine energy, apart from the Emperor. But this one is in reverse. What Spirit is trying to tell you is that they're trying to offer you the Ace of Wands. They're trying to offer you passion, but they're trying to tell you it's through emotioning that you will have the hottest sex of your life, okay? When you allow yourself to be vulnerable and sensitive and connected emotionally, you will have the best sex of your life. If that's not a freaking motivation, I don't know what is. Okay? The Queen of Wands knows this. That's why she's protected over here, because she's like, it's a turn off. It's a turn off when the king comes. Sorry, this is so sexual today. The king is coming without any emotion. She's like, you're done? Great, you have a good day. And she's left completely unsatisfied. And this is the thing. If you want to have real passion, and this is what the divine is trying to hand to you, the divine hand of God is trying to offer you hot, passionate sex. But you are resisting the process of what it takes to have the best sex in your life. You're like, no, I don't want that. But it's the only thing you keep asking for. What are you not getting? Communication. I'm hearing that as a confirmation. Do you get it? If you want hot sex, open up emotionally, and you won't for a second regret it. Strength. This is the second time it's come out. This is the strength. This is what's going to transform you. If you can visualize it, visualization, intuition, if this is what you want, then you can't be this, you have to be this. You have to open your heart chakra, and you have to invest your heart. That will give you strength. That will transform everything around you. That will give you the best sex of your life. And you're going to be happier than ever. I think this is really funny. I love spirits. See, they're not... The false thing to suggest is that sex is only for the devil. It's not. Okay? If it's designed by Spirit or God, then He's designed it to be this. Okay? Passionate, hot, and it's being offered by the design. It's been offered by design by the divine. If you turn your cups upside down continually, look at this. All the cups energies in the masculines here are in reverse. Look at this. 9 of Cups, King of Cups, Knight of Cups, and the 8 of Cups. let me tell you how to destroy your sex life. Do this. Okay? Keep on doing it. Keep on doing this. But say goodbye to that. Say goodbye to that. And say goodbye to that. And say goodbye to her. That's the choice. You cannot approach someone. You're asking for that, okay? If you're asking the divine for, not for protection, maybe you should use protection at the moment, whatever you're doing. What was I saying? Purity and pleasure go hand in hand. And having a pure heart and coming into someone, it's also sexual. Sorry, I didn't mean to. It's the best. But this is about emotion. Oh my God. This is something some people find so hard to understand. You should trust your intuition, but you're also going to be called to heal your heart space, your emotions, your sensitivity. That is the key to the best sex you'll ever have in your life. Let me repeat that. Emotions and sensitivity is what will give you the best sex you've ever had in your entire life. It's a divine promise. But there has to be that vulnerability and trust and sensitivity and emotional connection before there is physical connection. And when the two are joined together, get ready. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Guys, get out of here. Get out of town. I really wish you the best, and this is a funny read, but it is very much for the masculines out there, and I truly wish you well. And don't worry, because the feminines are struggling just as much. It's just as hard, and here we go. How about we do that? Instead of trying to fight ourselves, instead of trying to resist ourselves, be true to yourself. It's scary. I understand. It is scary. But when we are true to ourselves, to what we love and what we're passionate for, and we are emotioning that process as well, we allow our emotions to flow, the best. Anywho, that's enough of this. Embrace your power. It's emotions. That's the key. Okay. See you guys. I love you. Until next time. I don't know when. Bye. See ya.